Hello and welcome to today's practice called Morning Flow for Tight Hamstrings. We're going to begin today's practice standing in mountain pose at the front short side of the mat. So you can place your feet underneath of your hips, placing the blocks to the front short side of the mat. As you arrive, let your hands come together in the prayer position right at the heart. Notice the feet and pick up the 10 toes momentarily so you ground down through the four corners of each foot, feeling a light lift of the arches of the feet, even if that's an energetic lift of the arches of the feet. See if you can maintain that awareness of the feet as the 10 toes come back down to the floor. Tailbone draws slightly down. Crown of the head lengthens up. Take a breath in through the nose. Exhale, soft sigh out through the mouth. Inhale, circle sweep your arms out to the side and up. Extended mountain. Exhale, bend your knees and swan dive the body forward. Be sure to bend the knees as you transition into that forward fold. Inhale, hands coming on to the blocks or maybe to the shins as you lift the belly and come into halfway lift with the spine. See if you can pause momentarily in that halfway lift and again lift the 10 toes away from the floor. On your next exhalation, let the toes come down, let the body fold in, soften the knees as you bow inward. Inhale, bend your knees and reverse your swan dive. Rise up. Extended mountain. On your next exhale, we're going to swan dive the body forward again. So allow your knees to bend. Fold your body into the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Maybe lift the 10 toes as you take that halfway lift with the spine. And then exhale as you fold into the legs. Inhale, reverse your swan dive, bend your knees and rise upward into extended mountain. And then exhale, bend the knees and fold the body forward, back into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lift the belly away from the thighs, lift the 10 toes away from the floor. This time as you exhale, we're going to bring the blocks back to frame the left foot and step the right foot back so that you're in a high lunge. So I'm going to just take a moment to check in with your stance. You want your left knee to be over the shin bones and over the ankle. Inhale, we'll stay in the high lunge. And then as you exhale, we're going to come into a version of the pyramid pose. You're going to start to lift the hips up and back. And as you do so, that back right heel is going to stay lifted away from the floor. And you can either stay on the whole left foot, or you can come up onto the left heel, which is a stronger stretch for the calf region. So we're going to go back and forth between those two poses. So having the hands on the blocks can give you a little extra height. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, move the hips up and back. Maybe come to the left heel. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, variation of pyramid pose. Let's do two more on this side. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, pyramid. Last time, inhale, high lunge. And then exhale, that variation of pyramid pose. And as you inhale, find high lunge. Now you want to press off the right foot. We're going to step that right foot forward. Right foot's going to land. You might lift your 10 toes away from the floor, lift the belly away from the thighs, take halfway lift with the spine. And then take the blocks back to frame the right foot as you step the left foot back. High lunge. Check in with the alignment of the right knee over the shin bones and ankle. Blocks on any height. The higher the blocks are, the less stable they become. So be just mindful if they're on the highest height. Inhale, high lunge. And then as you're exhaling, lift your hips up and back, maybe rocking onto your right heel. And then inhale, take high lunge. Exhale, variation of pyramid. Take the chin slightly in, gaze is down at the earth. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, variation of pyramid. We're going to take that flow 2 more times. Inhale, right foot plants, high lunge. Exhale, variation of pyramid. Okay, last time. Inhale, high lunge. And exhale, variation pyramid pose. Inhale, high lunge. Now this time we're going to take the blocks to the inside of the right foot. And we're going to pivot the 10 toes, the feet, to face the long side of the mat, the left long side of the mat. You can bring your blocks underneath of your shoulders as you reach the crown of the head out to the side of the room. We're going to take wide stance, downward facing dog. So you can use your blocks beneath your hands if you like. You're going to walk your hands forward. And then you're going to take the upper body into the shape of the downward dog. So you're going to let your heart press toward the space of the 2 legs while the low front floating ribs draw in. You want to have a little extra weight in the balls of the feet and a little bit of lightness in the heels. You can always take some soft bend in the knees to reduce strain in the hamstrings. Stretching the backs of the legs with the feet wider is a little easier because it still allows for more mobility in the pelvis versus when the feet are directly underneath of the hips. So take another round of inhale and exhale. Okay, then you're going to slide those blocks or walk your hands in underneath of your shoulders. Bend your knees just a bit. You're going to slide your hands up to your hips, press down and rise up, shoulders over hips. You're going to spin the heels in and the toes out for the goddess squats. You're going to let your hands just slide down, the legs landing above the knees. You can lean the body just a little bit forward. Draw the navel in and then let your gaze even go down toward the floor a few feet out in front of the body, and then just hold here. Take a breath in through the nose, and as you exhale, you could even blow the breath out like you're blowing out a candle. Okay, and then as you take the next inhalation, you're going to start to straighten the knees, turn the heels back out, toes facing the long side of the mat, hands to the hips. Inhale, draw your elbows back, draw your tailbone down. Feel the heels of your hands kind of press just a bit into the low back as you lift. And then as you start to come forward with the crown of the head, feel the weight distribution shift slightly forward toward the toes. So just a little bit of lightness in the heels. Lower the hands back down to the blocks of the floor. This time we're going to bend the elbows and fold in to the wide stance, forward folds. You might have the hands on the blocks. You might bring them to the mat, almost in a sense walking them so that they're about in the same line with the feet. Let your knees be somewhat soft, especially if there's a lot of tightness in the hamstrings or restriction in the hamstrings. Reach the crown of the head down and almost feel like the sitting bones are slightly lifting up. Okay, take another breath in and out here. Okay, and then inhale as you start to take your spine back into that halfway lift. And then you're going to take your blocks, walk them over to your front right foot and spin the feet around so that you come into high lunge. We're going to take the blocks out to the side, step the front foot back into downward facing dog. Okay. Walk out through the knees and the feet. A gentle press of the heels down toward the floors. Bring some extra elongation up through the backs of the ankles and the calf region. And then take your knees and lightly lower them down to the mat for a moment. And you can take a blanket if you like and even slide it so that it's underneath of the knees. I'm just going to take a couple rounds of cat-cow here. So inhale, release the belly down to the floor, lift up through the heart, and then as you exhale, press your hands and round through your spine. Let's just do that 2 more times. Inhale, release the belly, lift through the heart. Exhale, press your hands and round through your spine. 1 more time. Inhale, release the navel, lift through the heart. And exhale, press the hands round through the spine. Inhale, release the navel, lift the heart. Exhale, we're going to move into downward facing dog. So press into the balls of the feet, lift the knees back up. And we're going to do some down dog toe taps. We're going to walk the left foot maybe just an inch or 2 into toward the center. Maybe with some soft bend in the left knee. We're going to inhale, send the right heel up to down dog split. It's going to bring more stretch to the left, to the back of the left leg. And then exhale as you tap the toes down. And then inhale as you send your right heel up. Exhale, tap the toes down. Inhale as you lift. Exhale as you tap. Inhale as you lift the right heel up to the sky. And then exhale as you lower the right foot down and take a moment to lower the knees. Just take a couple cat-cow. Inhale, release the belly, lift the heart. Exhale, round the spine. 1 more time. Inhale, release the belly, lift the heart. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, release the belly, lift the heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to do those toe taps on the second side. So you're going to walk your right foot in an inch or 2 toward the midline. Maybe with some soft bend in the right knee. You're going to inhale, lift the left heel up to the sky. And then as you exhale, you'll tap the left toes down on the floor. Inhale, lift the left heel up. Exhale to tap. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower 1 more time. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. And then we'll take the knees back down to the floor. And now we're going to swing the legs around in front of the body and coming to sit on the edge of the blanket. So you might even take a moment to come off of the blanket, fold the blanket up so that you have a little extra height. Keep the left leg extended, bend your right knee so that the sole of the right foot comes to the inner left leg. Around the knee or up a little higher is fine. So you might even put a little bit of a bend in your left knee. Press out through your left heel so it feels like the 5 toes are coming back toward the shin bones. Lengthen up through the crown of your head. You could always feel free to stay here right in the center, focusing on the length of the spine, or to fold forward. You'll bring a little more stretch into the backs of the back of the left leg. You may feel some elongation across the inner right thigh, upper thigh region, the low back. So I usually like to keep my hands just on the floor. It feels a little bit more supportive to me, but you can always use a strap along the ball of the left foot. Draw your chin slightly in so that the gaze is down at the floor. Take a few more rounds of breath here. If the stretch is overly intense in either the low back or the hamstrings, feel free to kind of wave the body in and out of the stretch. Okay, slowly bring the body back up so the shoulders stack over the hips. I'm going to move the hands back behind the hips so that we can switch out the legs, right leg extending, left knee bending, foot at the inner knee or up a little higher on the inner thigh. Sit tall. And then you're going to begin to fold forward. Reach over the right leg. If it's bothersome at all in the low back, you can always stay upright and focus on lengthening the spine. Otherwise, here the chin comes slightly in, the gaze goes down. Consciously focusing your mind on the movement of breath, breathing into the regions of the body that feel the most restricted. So it's just with your mind, you imagine that the flow of breath can go into the hamstrings or into the outer left hip or the low back. Like you're breaking up some of that restriction through the flow of energy or through the flow of the breath. All right, last cycle of breath here. All right, slowly bringing the body back up so the shoulders are over the hips. You can lean some weight into the hands. Bend your knees, the knees point up to the sky, and take a few windshield wipers. You can stay with that windshield wiper motion another time or two, or another option is to plant the feet on the floor with the knees pointing up to the sky, wrist creases pointing out. You might lift your heart a bit, or you might even lift the hips a little bit away from the floor. Just create some engagement in the legs. Take a breath in and exhale. Let your hips come down. And then we'll bring the legs around to that simple cross-leg position. Sit tall, take a breath in, sweep the arms wide and up. Draw the prayer hands together and bring them down into your heart. The light within me sees and bows to that same light that exists within you. Namaste.